All right, here we go. China Mac, welcome back.
Yo, so soon, man. I just got this phone call really early, bro. What's up, bro? Thanks for having me back.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like we talked before the interview, you're gonna now become a regular guest on Vlad TV.
Sounds like a plan.
Yeah,
I'll be like the new Boosie.
Lord
I'm
Jamar,
gonna be the new
Trey
Boosie.
D. Boosie's a regular guest as well. DL Hughley, Godfrey. You're in good company.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. You're a New Yorker.
Yeah.
You've been through the various jail systems and so forth in New York.
Mm-hmm.
Most recently, there was a situation at MDC Brooklyn.
Yeah.
That's part one, MDC shutdown.
MDC Brooklyn.
That's how cold it is. The AC on with the shutdown, the AC on, but they can't put the heat on.
No
Got niggas
walking around pushing shit up crazy. Niggas are sick walking around with colds and shit.
They shut us down when they want, lock us out when they want. My toilet don't even work. We in the toilet don't work.
That's a shitty situation.
I can't even use the toilet.
From the outside world.
It's cold, it's freezing in here.
ASPCA treat the pit bulls better than we get treated.
Cruelty, but they treated humans worse than animals.
Guys are sick and all cold. It's crazy, man.
Take a look outside. Everybody cold. Everybody wrapped up. Look how dark it is. There's only two lights working.
Show the switch right here. Switch
No
on.
lights.
Look at the light.
No lights.
Switch on. Off on. Off on.
Have you actually been in that facility?
Nah, I never been in the feds.
Oh, so that's a Fed facility.
That's a fed facility.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, from your point of view, what exactly is going on with that?
I don't know. I think I don't know if they did that like on I don't think they did that on purpose to like to I really don't know. I don't know why they would turn off the heat, the water. Maybe it was like an outage in the building of some sort. I'm not sure. But I know that, things can happen, but then because the inmates are really not that it's not, they're not really like on the list of people to be helping. They might have just let it rock for a little bit longer than it really should have. But all the noise that was made and all the people that was rallying up, and a lot of times when I was in prison, things would happen and then like they would be slow on resolving the issues. Like if there's no heat, we'll be in there for like a month with no heat. But if we don't, we can complain all we want to the officers. There's only so many people we can talk to. So we can just keep on going to Officer Vlad and be like, hey, the heat, we ain't got no heat. We ain't got no heat. You know what I'm saying? Not to say you're an officer, but you know what I'm saying.
I like that. You can run with that.
But coming up to the officer and being like, yo, there's nothing you could do, right? But now when it transcends the walls and transcends the prison and people are outside complaining about it, people are making tweets, people are outside, making really big noise, then you see change. And I just, I'm glad to see that people are rallying up behind causes like that. That gives people inside hope that, there's still people that care. You know what I mean?
Well, we actually got a video of two inmates in the facility, and they covered up their faces.
I reposted that too. That's where I got it from.
Yeah.
I got it from you.
Yeah. Someone DM'd that to me, and we posted it, and it showed how like the toilet wasn't flushing. It was just kind of just circle around in there, and they're all cold. And it was interesting. It's like the power of a cell phone. Like one cell phone can change the whole narrative.
Yeah. So how do you feel about that? How do you feel about prisoners going through that type of stuff? What's your take on that?
I think it's cruel and unusual punishment. I think that it's somehow the prisoners should be compensated in some way or another.
But how do you think about the argument about what people say, like, they're prisoners, they did something wrong, they should have never did what they did to be in prison, and there's homeless people outside that's freezing, and all that. So why should we care about prisoners?
Because I think there's a set of rules that are laid out for you being a prisoner. There are certain things that the prisoner is responsible for, and certain things that the state or the feds is responsible for. And heating, running water, food, and so forth is part of the agreement.
Yeah, I mean,
You know what I'm saying? It's like you're not putting these people to death. If they're still alive, you're required to take care of them. And at the end of the day, people are in there for various reasons. Some people might be in there for tax evasion. Some people might be in there for, a bar fight. Like at the end of the day, you're required to take care of those people. And in fact, I don't know if you ever saw this, but 60 Minutes did a really interesting special on the prison system in Germany. And it's like a whole different situation over there. Like for one, every guard has to go through 3 years of training, conflict management and so forth. Every prisoner has their own cell, individual cell with their own key that they can lock with a TV, like it looks like a college dorm room essentially. And, there's an overall feeling that the prisoners and the guards are not enemies. They are there to get through this time, and then, the person will get released back into society. So you have almost no level of violence in the prisons between the guards and the prisoners. I think personally the U.S. prison system is broken.
I mean, there's no doubt in that. It's not the U.S. prison system is a little different. It's more, it's a business, right? So at the end of the day, when the money is involved, when people are like depending on these prisons so they can make money, so they can feed their family, right? It's a little different. We're not, prisoners aren't looked at as people that needs to be reformed, that needs to come out better. They're looked at like cattle, right? They're looked at like people that they want to keep on coming to prison so they can keep on making money off of it. That's the only way to make the money, right? So in that case, like the United States prison system is just is corrupt and it's fucked up. You know what I mean?
What was interesting about the story that we just mentioned is that a prisoner with a cell phone changed the whole narrative.
Yeah.
The fact that you could actually see these people and say, look, here's me flushing the toilet, and here you see the shit, swimming around the toilet and not going down. Look at how we're bundled up, and you could see like the smoke coming out of our breath right now. How hard is it to get cell phones in prison based on your, experience?
Well, the state and the feds is a little different. You know what I mean? When I was in prison, me and a bunch of my friends went to the box for cell phone matters, but it was serious, like really serious. Like they had a helicopter up above. They shut down the whole jail for like a few days just for a couple cell phones. And they had a helicopter scanning to see if there was any cell phones in the building or whatever. So in the state, it's a lot more serious. I don't know about now. We're talking about a couple years ago. In the feds, it's a little different. The feds, it's easier to get phones in there. More people have phones. They have more access to like outside. People have access to outside and, shit like that. So it seems like it's a little easier to get the phones inside the feds.
They shut down the whole prison over a couple of cell phones.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
That's crazy.
They shut down.
Because
And
what?
that was in Sing Sing. That was in Sing Sing. So it was like about, they shut down, I think the population is like 4,000, 5,000. They shut the whole jail down.
Damn. What makes cell phones that dangerous to a prison system?
Well, exactly what you saw. You know what I'm saying? Why would they want to show the world what's going on in there? Because then they're gonna have to change. Like that one video, I'm sure brought so much things to light, and so many people are like, on the hot seat because of that. You know what I'm saying? So why would they want that? Why would they want to change what they're doing? Because let's face it. You know what I mean? the prison system is messed up, and you know, foul shit happens. But the only time that type of shit can happen is if nobody knows about it, right? That's where it can really thrive. But when people start knowing about it, when people are posting things about it, and videos are popping up on Instagram doing millions of views, then you're not gonna be able to do that no more. You know what I mean?
I mean, yeah. I think someone sent me a music video they filmed in prison.
Yeah.
At one point, like.
Did you like it?
It was cool. You know, it was cool for what it was. You know, but now with technology, you see all types of interesting shit. Because now, from what I understand, they're using drones to smuggle in drugs and so forth,
Yeah.
and weapons into prisons.
Yeah.
Was there any of that when you were locked up?
Not really. No, not that I can recall. You know.
Yeah.
But I think drones were like, they're more, you know, you can get them easier than now. You know, back when I was there, like I think drones were a little harder to get.
Yeah, man. Prison is changing. Technology is changing the whole playing field.
The whole world, yeah.
Yeah, the whole world.
Shout out to all the prisoners out there, man. Everybody that's watching this, that's locked down, hold your head. You know, free La Brim, free all the guys, free Snipe. You already know?
I don't know how familiar you are with this kind of overall process, but just recently, 21 Savage got arrested by ICE.
Yeah.
I'm sure you heard about this.
Yeah. That's crazy. That blew my mind. I didn't even know that he's from, I thought he was from Atlanta.
Atlanta. Well, I interviewed him. I mean, I did one of his first interviews, and
he never mentioned that, right? He never mentioned.
Well, I asked where he grew up. I didn't ask where he was born, but I asked where he grew up, which is kind of a typical question for me. And he's like, oh, yeah, you know, Atlanta, East Atlanta. He started naming all the streets. You personally, where did you grow up?
I grew up on the east side, Glenwood, Decatur, you know what I'm saying? East Atlanta, Boulder Crest, motherfucking. But I done stayed on Boulevard, I done stayed on Simpson, you know what I'm saying? I done grew up in the whole Atlanta, really.
There was no accent that I could hear outside of a regular, you know, Atlanta kid, you know, in terms of the speech patterns. And out of nowhere, he gets picked up by ICE, and I guess he's here in this country illegally. And actually, just today, we just got word that when he was arrested, they found a fully loaded Glock in his car.
Oh. Free that
What
man,
do you
man.
know? Yeah, man. Free
21 Savage, man.
Did you know people, you know, being Chinese, did you know people that were here illegally as you were growing up that got picked up by ICE and sent back, and or maybe committed some crimes and got sent back?
Oh, so just because I'm Chinese, like, I know people that, yeah, all right.
Yeah. just because you're Chinese. That's exactly
Yo,
what I'm asking.
well, I mean, yeah, I heard about it. I knew a lot of people that had to. That's a really bad. That's like a tough process because they come get you when your time is done. like let's say I'm sentenced to 10 years or whatever, right? I do the 10 years, and then on the day that I'm done, they'll come and get me. And then I'll go to ICE, and then I could sit there for another 2 or 3 years, just fighting that process, either fighting it or getting deported. If you say, you know what, just deport me, I don't want to fight it, then they'll just get you out of there, and then it'll be a little quicker. But if you're fighting it, there's no bail or nothing. Like you might just be in there, you know, fighting that for a couple of years.
Well, yeah, I mean, he's on 23-hour lockdown.
Yeah, man.
And I mean, he's not treated like a celebrity or anything. He's just in there with the rest of the detainees.
Yeah.
So, you know, for example, I know Shine, and the same kind of thing happened to him.
I know
He
Shine
did
too,
his,
man. Shout out to Shine. I know Shine.
Okay, you know Shine too. Yeah, that's the homie, man. I've done interviews with him. I communicated, and I talked to him while he was still locked up.
I got a dope story. I got a dope story about Shine. You know what I mean?
Let's hear it.
I met Shine. I was in the Beacon in Rikers Island. This is like when he was on the island about that. I think it was like 2000 or something like that, right? And he was in the Beacon in the box, So they had him in like another, like a it was IPC, right? Like involuntary PC, which is when they put all of the famous people or whatever. So he got into a beef, and they put him in a box. So when I was the box is in my building in the Beacon. So at that time I was rapping, and like all of the officers knew me for rapping. They used to grab me take me to one house to battle people or whatever. So like so I was in the yard, and then the depot security came up to me and was like, "Yo, come here." And I'm like, "Yo, what's up?" And he was like, "Shine's in the building. You want to meet him?" I said, "Hell yeah. Yeah, let's do it." So I went back to my house. I'm in there. Then they call me and they tell me to go down to the security office. So I go down there, and when I walk in there, you know, I'm talking to the deputy. He's like, "Yo, I'm getting Shine escorted in here right now." So I was just sitting there, and then Shine comes in. He doesn't know what the fuck is going on. He's like, "Why are they?" Because he's in the box, so they have to shackle him. He's shackled, handcuffed, and then they bring him into the dep office, and he's just looking like, "What the fuck y'all want from me?" So then he sits down, and the dep is like, "Yo, this kid is nice with the rapping. Like, yo, hear him out." And just started rapping for him. So that was my experience with Shine, man. Shout out to Shine, man. I hope you're doing well out there, bro.
He had an early release from a 10-year sentence.
Yeah, so he did like 8.
Yeah, did like 8 years.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, "Oh shit, Shine's getting out." Everyone's all excited, and then you found out, nope, he's getting deported to Belize.
Yeah, that sucks. That sucks.
And because of the way it's set up, he can't physically come back to America at all.
Yeah.
So he's been in, you know, his dad is actually the president of Belize, the prime minister.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
It's kind of interesting. But yeah, he went to Belize, and he went to Israel for a while, and I think he was in Paris for a while, and he just kind of hopped around the world, and I think he's getting settled in now, but must really suck.
So hold up. So back to this 21 Savage. So all this time, 21 Savage was an illegal, like he wasn't.
Yeah.
And he's just been, damn, that's crazy. He didn't.
This whole time, yeah, I guess that's what they say. I don't know the exact details, but he was born in London. He came over, I think, when he was 12.
Wow.
And, you know, him and his whole family came over. He never became a U.S. citizen for whatever reason. And I'm not sure if he caught any charges along the way or what, but he was never actually legal here. And then, boom, they went in, scooped him up, and now they're looking to deport him.
That gotta be crazy. That gotta be crazy, like to reach that point in your career, and then wake up, and then the next morning you're like in a jail cell. Like, you know, that gotta really suck.
Well, and I think it's the way you described it. If he just wanted to go to the UK, I think he can go there right now. But
he doesn't. He doesn't want to do that. Yeah.
If he wants to fight it, he's going to be detained for a while. You know, another person this happened to was Slick Rick.
That's true.
Yep. Slick Rick was born in the UK as well.
Yeah.
Came over here as a child, and then he got into like some beef with like his cousin, and he ended up shooting at him, and then he crashed his car. It was a high-speed chase, and then he was just, you know, detained in ICE for years until they finally, I think they let him out, and then they put him back in, and it was just a whole mess. And now he's finally out again.
Yeah.
So you've seen this in hip hop a few times.
Yeah, hopefully 21 Savage could make it out of that thing, man. Word.
Yeah, man. But in the worst case, this is someone that actually has an international fan base at this point.
But he could go out there and eat. You know what I'm saying? He could definitely go out there.
He could do shows through Europe, through Asia, Australia, you know, parts of Africa. He could put out albums that people will still listen to. He could still support his family. He's not like a typical, you know, dude that just gets, you know, caught hustling and, you know, deported back to Jamaica, and he's just broke back in Jamaica again. You know what I'm saying? Like, he actually has a real career.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Yeah, man. So we'll see what happens. But you've seen this happen with some people you knew, huh?
Yeah, I seen that. I seen it, but I seen a couple people beat it, you know. But I seen a lot of people that got shipped out too. It's a tough process, you know.
So last time you were here, Tekashi had gotten picked up by the feds, along with the rest of the Treyway guys, you know, Shotti and everyone else.
Yeah.
You predicted that Tekashi was going to tell. Fast forward to February 2019, Tekashi has pled guilty to, I believe, eight or nine counts, including drug dealing and robbery and a bunch of other stuff. And his name was, I guess, taken off of the indictments, which people are saying means that he's cooperating and is going to help get the other guys locked up.
Oh man, I mean, I that's what it seems like. I mean, I know how the feds are. Chances are that's definitely what happened. He definitely cooperated. They gave him a deal. He's probably gonna plead to the deal soon. He'll get sentenced to the deal. Probably gonna give him like 3 years or something like that. And then in turn for his cooperation, you know, with whatever information that, you know, so he won't never go to trial. He just he plead out.
So you think he's only going to get like 3 years with all those charges?
Yeah, they're gonna give him something light. I don't see him doing more than 5.
Someone DM'd me, and they said they went through something similar that he's going through. And essentially, what they're saying is, because his sentencing is not until like next year sometime, like it's in 2020. And what they're saying is, based on how it's set up from their point of view, is that he's agreeing to give them all the information they need to convict everybody else. And he will have to sit there, you know, in a prison cell and continuously cooperate until every single person they're going after is sentenced. And then they'll finally give him his sentence and he can start his time officially. Does that sound about right?
I mean, it sounds like something. It's crazy.
Yeah. And remember, I had mentioned that whole Chief Keef thing where he said like, "Oh, I got 10, 10 stacks, for the whole Chief Keef situation."
A 30-pack.
30-pack, my bad. Yeah, he said I got a 30-pack on that. That's one of the things he's cooperating with.
Yeah. Damn, bruh. I mean, it's sad, bro. Like, it's sad. It's sad because, and then people say like, yo, what is he supposed to do? Because the people that he was with was against him. They were doing all types of foul stuff to him already, robbing him and doing, whatever. What is he supposed to do when he has these people, going against him? They're robbing him. They're stealing from him. They're, plotting to do things to him or whatever. And, what else is he supposed to do? I guess that's a way to look at it if you're not in the streets, right? But when you do that, you volunteer for this. You know what I mean? I think this goes back to what I talked about before, right? Like it doesn't matter if he was built for it or not. This is what he signed up for. Like, regardless of how young he was or like how not from the street he was or whatever, he took in that gang life, right? And then when you do that, you make a conscious decision on, on being a part of this. And I think this is a really bad sign for young kids that, like, it shows kids, like, you can just join things, just do whatever. And then when it's time to like, pay for your repercussions, pay for your actions and all that, you just take the easy way out, right? And you just go tell on everybody. I think that's a bad example. For the most part, everything about that whole case, I think that's the worst thing about it. You know what I mean? About all the kids that are looking at this and basically how it's okay. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's okay. Like I could just be a gang member, be a part of everything and do everything. And then when it's time to pay for this, right? I'm just gonna tell on everybody. Like, it's okay. You know what I mean? I think that kind of like, I think that's really fucked up. You know what I mean? I think that really fucked the game up. Like, I think the game is all fucked up. I think that shit is just like, just fucked up. Like.
Well, I mean, I'm looking it up now. So he pleaded 9 counts. He pleaded guilty to 9 counts of conspiracy, firearm offenses, drug trafficking, and racketeering. He was involved in selling marijuana, ecstasy, fentanyl, heroin, and amphetamines.
Yeah.
He admitted to all this. I don't know how you walk away with all that shit and get 3 years.
Nah, he's gonna get. He took that for a reason. You know what I mean? They just gave him all that, so just in case, like, if he doesn't cooperate or if he doesn't do anything, you copped out to 9 things. So we're gonna bang you. So that's just a lock you in type. You know what I mean? As long as you cooperate and do everything that you say, we'll give you this light time. But if not, you got 9 cases and you pled guilty to it already. So we can just give you whatever the fuck we want to give you.
Well, I remember when my writer wrote this up, and it said that he's facing a minimum sentence of 47 years. I'm like, yo, can you change this? Because this is obviously a typo. It probably means a maximum sentence of 47 years. And she was like, no, it's a minimum sentence of 47 years. And I went and looked it up, and sure enough, all those counts have a minimum sentence of 47 years. With him being 22 years old now, that means you'd get out at 69 years old. Coincidentally enough. Clearly, he's not going to get 47 years, but if you're facing a 47 minimum, goddamn, what are they going to give you? 20? 15 maybe at the best?
Nah, I don't see him doing all that. I don't see him doing all that. I see that he's going to help get all of these people big numbers. Like, he's just going to wrap that whole thing up, and then they're going to give him something light, bro. I think maybe 5 years, most. You know what I mean? Maybe I might be wrong, but, I don't know. I just think they're going to give him something light.
Well, here's an interesting question. Let's say they give him 5 years. 2025, 2024, Tekashi gets out. Can he then, with it being on paper that he told on all his people and they get like 50 years, 60 years, whatever, can he come back out and be a poppin' rapper again?
Yo, it hurts me to say this. Really does. It really hurts me. But yes. And it just shows you just where it's at now. Like, you know what I mean? It's really disgusting to me. You know what I'm saying? Because I really firmly believe that if you're not in the streets, then stay the fuck out of the streets. Like, you know what I mean? You can't play in this shit. And then when it happens, you just like, if you with it, you with it. If you not with it, you not with it. Like, you know what I mean? I really hate to see these fucking stupid ass kids just be doing all this shit and they not built for it. And you know what I'm saying? And then they fold like a beach shit. So honestly, I think like the way the game, the way the world, the way everything is all set up now, yes, he's gonna come back out and people aren't even gonna care about it. The streets will care about it. You know what I'm saying? But so he can never come back like on like his gangster street stuff. But I definitely think he could come out and just make make rock and like whatever type of music and just do it for the ladies and do it for the clubs. And I think people's gonna jack it. You know what I mean? I think people don't even care about that. The young people.
Yeah, man. I mean, I think the reason for me personally, the reason why I get along with people like you or people like Trey D, people like my son, is that I've always made it very clear that I don't have nothing to do with this street shit at all. Don't include me in none of this. I'm not going to rep none of this. I'm doing interviews, and that's it. I don't want to know about anything you're currently doing. We'll talk about shit that's past the statute of limitations, and that's it. But it is very alluring for someone, especially if they're really young, like a Tekashi, to be like, oh shit, I'm fucking with all these street dudes, and oh, they saying I could be a blood, and I could wave my flag around and say blood, and have motherfuckers go beat people up for me. That's a very tempting offer right there to an average person, especially if they're not like a real tough dude themselves and people fucked with them, and now they could turn around and say, go beat that dude up. And motherfuckers will actually do it.
Yeah.
And next thing you know, you're in prison.
Yeah.
Tied into all this shit.
I think that honestly, I blame the gangs for that shit. You know what I'm saying? I blame the gangs for just picking up everybody for whatever reason. They doing it for the wrong reasons, you know what I mean? And I think that in itself just waters down, what it was meant to be, what it was supposed to be. And I think when you do that, all of these people that are not built for it comes in and they're able to infiltrate and they're able to get information to the feds. And now I really just think that whole thing is like, you know what I mean? Like it's just, I blame the older people for that, man. Just allowing it to get to where it's at right now, I think Tekashi, I don't know, man. I think that shit I think this should be a lesson to everybody. Like, yo, this street shit is not a fucking game. You know what I mean? It's not a game. Like I said before, it's not a game. And there will be a time to pay for your choices. You know what I'm saying? So when that time comes, you have to. I think it's easy to like kind of forget that there is repercussions here for your actions because they don't come every day. But when it comes, it comes. You know what I mean? So I'm pretty sure that he's in this cell. Like what the fuck? I didn't know, but you did know though. You did fucking know. You know what I'm saying?
Well, no, I mean, I've said this before. I ran into him one time at a strip club, and, we walk over to a section, and they're like, oh, yo, this is Vlad, this is Vlad. He wants to meet you. And he was like, yeah, what up, Blood? You see I'm in L.A., right, Blood? You see it? You see it, right, Blood? And I'm like, yeah, I see it. He was real, I'm not co-signing this whole thing like, oh, he was brainwashed and he was used as a puppet by the OG dudes. I'm like, nah, he was front and center with this shit. He liked it. He liked to be in that persona and to have that image. And sure enough, right when I walked away, someone threw a bottle at his section and a fight broke out and they were escorted out and it was just a whole fucking clusterfuck. Like, and I think he got on IG Live and bragged about it. Like this, he really pushed this himself. He was the conductor in this whole movement that they had over there. That's my personal, point of view.
Yeah, I feel like that too. I feel he definitely knew what he was doing. He definitely, I don't think he really understood, how serious this was gonna get. But he definitely knew what he was doing. He definitely knew that he had the power and he used the power. You know what I'm saying? To get to where he was at, and I feel sorry for all the people like Kuda B, like all these other people that kind of just was playing their position to push the movement, to to just make sure that he looked good out there and make sure that the team looked good and made sure and did it they played their position in this movement. You know what I'm saying? And now, the person that they did it for is turning around and telling on them. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, You know, that just shows all these other people, man. Don't be running behind people that don't deserve it, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? Don't be running around behind people for the clout, for that shit and doing certain shit when, you know, you don't know these motherfuckers. You know what I'm saying? You don't know them. And when push comes to shove, like, you know what I'm saying? Every man for themselves, man. You know?
Well, I mean, in your own situation, you know, we talked about this during our last couple interviews. Your father was a gangster, and he ended up snitching on the head boss, Machine Gun Johnny.
Yeah.
And you kind of described how after that happened, you and your whole family felt like you were in a lot of danger because you felt that, you know, Machine Gun Johnny's guys might come and kill you.
Whether you have children, whether you have a mother, dying mother, sick dog, whatever the fuck you got, you know what I'm saying? You signed up for it, and that's what comes with it. You know what I'm saying? When that time, when you making them millions of dollars or whatever you making, you know what I'm saying? Like that, but then there's also repercussions to that. And when the repercussions come, you signed up for it. So I'm never gonna say, but if his response, if his thing was to, all right, I have a son, you know what I mean? And I have a family, I have a mother, and I wanna, like, you know, I wanna save my family, and I'm gonna do that to secure my family, you know what I'm saying? Or I'm gonna sign into whatever fucking, you know, whatever witness protection program and bring my family and whatever, then I could, like, all right, I mean, but then I still wouldn't agree with it, you know what I'm saying? But he did that and left us out there. We was out there, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, we had no protection. My mom had a baby, you know what I'm saying? We had no protection. We were just out there on them streets.
You know, some of the stories I've read was that Tekashi's having to pay for all this extra security for his mother, and, you know, his baby mother is now scared of the repercussions. Have you seen situations like that where somebody, you know, snitches and something happens to their family?
Hell yeah.
Okay.
I mean, you know, some people feel like, yo, if I can't get you, then I'll get the closest thing to you. You know what I mean? You know. And then at that point, it's like, you know, I mean, I don't think that would be right, but, you know, I also don't think that he is right for him telling on people either. So, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I remember I had Trey D on my show, and he told me about a situation where I guess a guy was going to tell on him, and this happened years and years ago, so it's kind of past the statute of limitations and everything, but I guess a guy was going to tell on him and one of his guys, and his people went and essentially kidnapped him and made him go down to the station and basically say that all of it was false and he's retracting everything, and that's how they actually got off. Have you seen these types of situations?
Yeah, I've seen that before. Well, so basically what he's saying was they forced somebody to go and tell him, yo, nah, you know, it didn't happen like that. It happened like this. He ain't had nothing to do with it, like that, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Drop all the charges, everything.
Yeah, I see that. You know, people be in prison doing it, trying to do that. Reach out to, you know, the people that told on them or people witnesses and try to have them retract or whatever. I seen that before.
Yeah, I mean, he also talked about how people he's seen, well, not personally seen, but he's heard of people getting killed, you know, that were cooperating, sometimes even on their way to trial.
Yeah. Shit get real out here, man, you know?
Have you seen people get killed in prison? I mean, not seen. I'm not trying to put that on you, but have you heard of situations of people getting killed in prison that are cooperating within the prison system already?
Killed? I'm not sure. I'm pretty. Yeah, I mean, you know what? I have heard of it. You know what I'm saying? But it was a while ago, like before, like, you know. So it does happen, but does it happen as frequently as you know as it maybe should? No.
Yeah, man. I mean, I think the moral of the story is that if you're gonna get mixed up in all this shit, there's just danger from every aspect. You know, not only if you don't cooperate, you're facing, you know, massive amounts of time. If you do cooperate, you risk you or your family getting killed. Like, it's just a very, very bad situation all around. Because I interviewed Lil D. He was the crack king of Oakland in the 80s. He was a multimillionaire by the age of 18. And when he got caught, he refused to cooperate in any manner whatsoever. So even though you had a baby that I guess was born right after you got
My
arrested,
son Lamar. Yeah, he was born.
And-
he was born February the 10th. Yeah.
yeah, and they offered to take you and your whole family, change your name, put you in Idaho somewhere where no one will ever find you, where you won't fear any repercussions from all the people that you told on. You still said no. I'm not going to tell anybody.
I like your question, man. That's a good question, man. But at the end of the day, much as I love my son and love my family, ratting is not an option with me, man.
And he ended up doing 35. Well, he got sentenced to 35 years at age 20.
Yo, shout out to him, man. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to him. Shout out to people, guy. It's like it's a different world out here now. People don't do stuff like that. But shout out to people that just live by a certain code and they know what world they're getting into. They know the parameters. They know their codes. They know that, and they go in that knowingly. You know what I'm saying? And when it's time, when the pressure's on, they honor, they honor that shit. And I think that's like a missing thing in this world now. Like, people just don't honor their words. People don't honor, codes and ethics and certain shit. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's just why this shit is all fucking a mess right now, That's why, listen, that gang shit, all that shit is, it's not the time for that. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, I mean, what was interesting about his story was that I said, when they first picked you up, did you think, oh no, I'm going to beat this, my lawyers are going to whatever? He said, no. How did you feel at that point? Did you feel like, okay, well, I got some lawyer money, I'm going to beat all this? Or did you feel like,
I'm going to tell you what I felt. When I got
it?
arrested that night, I accepted it right then. I said, it's over. Like immediately out the gate, wasn't no in denial. Man, I'm gonna beat this case. It was those conversations with my older partners who told me, man, you jump off the porch, you get caught up for whatever you choose to do. You gotta accept the consequences, because if you tell, we gonna kill you.
Obama ended up giving him clemency, so they shaved like a few years off his time. But he did like 28 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yo, man, like, yeah, that's strong right there. You know what I mean? For somebody to be able to do that, like, just be able to, like, not tell on nobody and just take the time like a fucking man and just, like, and just do that. There's a lot of people that won't do that. You know what I mean? There's a lot of people that will just fucking, just bite the cheese and, you know what I mean? And just fucking send everybody up to save their own ass. You know what I mean? So whenever I come across people like that have that type of, that do shit like that, bro, like, much respect to you, bro. Like, you know what I mean? Much respect.
So Freeway Ricky Ross, he's a regular on VladTV. Freeway was one of the biggest, I think the biggest drug dealer on the West Coast.
Yeah.
Basically, if you know the whole story, the drugs that he was moving was being used by the CIA to finance a war in South America.
What?
Like it was that serious. Yeah, the whole Iran-Contra scandal was Freeway Ricky Ross was one of the main parts of that scandal. The whole Oliver North thing and all that.
Yeah.
Freeway Ricky was part of that. He was the drug dealer aspect of that whole operation. Unknowingly. He didn't know it at the time. This got found out later on. But with his situation, which was kind of interesting, was Louis Blandon, who was his plug. This was a South American guy that was basically sending drugs and taking the money to buy weapons, in South America. Was working with the government the whole time, the U.S. government the whole time. And he got on the stand and testified against Freeway and gave Freeway a life sentence.
So how did Freeway get out of that? How did Freeway get out of that?
Well, Freeway ended up, he was illiterate when he got locked up. He didn't know how to read or write. He learned how to read, and he went through all the court cases, all his court case documents, and he essentially figured out that the way he was sentenced was improper. He was being sentenced multiple times for the same thing. For I think it was called continuing criminal enterprise. He was able to basically, I think, combine a bunch of his cases into one, and then he ended up getting out after like a bunch of years. But he told me something interesting. I said, okay, if the guy who gave you life in prison, who testified against you, walked in the room right now, what would you do? He said, absolutely nothing. What would happen if he walked in the room right now?
Oh, nothing.
Nothing.
I have absolutely nothing against him.
Really?
Nah. Wasn't his fault. See, the way I look at it is, first of all, I made the mistake of getting in the drug business.
That's part of that game.
Yeah.
If you're selling cocaine or any other drug for that matter, people telling on you is part of the entire process. So if you accept one, you have to accept the other. And once he accepted it all and took responsibility for him being where he is because of selling cocaine, not because of someone telling on him, he just started to focus on getting out. And he ultimately got out because of that, as opposed to just being mad that this guy told on him.
That's a great.
What's your take on that?
I mean, that's an intelligent way of looking at it. You know what I mean? That's definitely taking responsibility for your actions, and I mean, I agree. I agree. I think once you start taking responsibility for what you do, and it helps the process a lot quicker. You know what I mean? It's true, that does come with it. Just as much as jail time, whatever, money, the fast life, women, the other side is prison time, people telling on you, the police, the raids, courts, prison, all that shit is a part of it. You know what I mean? So when we make these decisions, we have to look at those things too, not just the bright side, because the bright side is short-lived. Like, you know what I'm saying? That money that's coming fast, and the days in the clubs, you might have like the most a couple years with that. But the other side, the jail time, it's way longer. You know what I'm saying? So it's definitely important for motherfuckers to be looking at both sides of the coin before they do something, because it's definitely gonna come with it.
Yeah, I mean, I just looked it up. He had a life sentence, and he basically found a loophole which found that the three-strike law wasn't correctly applied to his case. So his sentence got reduced to 20 years. Yeah. And he's now out. But it's a very interesting way of thinking about it, because everyone I feel that's doing illegal shit, they're counting on people not telling on them, when more often than not, the opposite happens. You know, it's almost like you should go in saying, okay, I'm going to do this, and all these people are going to tell on me. So let me prepare. Let me make my decision based on people telling on me as opposed to people not telling on me. Because more often than not, people are going to tell on me. It's like, you know, it's like going to the corner store and buying a scratch-off lottery ticket and assuming you're going to win each time. You know, imagine thinking like, I'm going to win every time. After about the 10th lottery ticket, when you've only won one time, sooner or later you start figuring out that it's not going to, it just doesn't work that way.
Yeah, no, definitely. But that's what it has become, you know? That's what it has become. It wasn't always like that, you know what I'm saying? And it just shows that game, you know, is not you know, it's not enticing. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you definitely, you know, there's a lot of downsides to that shit. But before, when people stood together and people, like, you know, and didn't really work with the feds and didn't really cooperate and didn't break, it was much harder for the government to do that. But now, because it's so much easier, people break so much easier, you know, it makes the job much easier for the government.
Have you had situations where you and a group of people got arrested and all of you, you know, stood your ground and were able to just walk away because of that?
Yeah. Definitely. Definitely. There was when I was a kid, we all had like an assault. Somebody got, like, 2 people got stabbed, like maybe like 30 times or something like that, and they arrested like 10 of us. You know what I mean? And nobody told.
And you guys all walked away.
Yeah, I mean, there was some, you know, like, I did the most time out of it, you know what I mean? Because I had other things going on, but yeah, we were able to get out of that.
Yeah, man. Well, look, this whole thing is a very important lesson. And like, I think the way Freeway Ricky really laid it out is that, you know, telling goes along with illegal activity. So if you're going to get into it, you might as well assume that's going to happen along the way. You know, and that'll help you make a better decision on whether or not you should get into it or not.
Yeah. I think that's the best way to do it. And if I strongly suggest, if you do anything, if you have to do something, do that shit by yourself.
Last time you were here, we talked about you using the N-word.
Yeah.
And you talked about how, as you got older and you had older people speak to you about it, that you saw that it's not something that you want to continue doing.
Yeah.
Well, Ebro had some words about it, and I guess you replied to it.
Yeah.
So, what exactly did Ebro say?
Well, Ebro, I mean, I seen a clip, and basically he was just saying that somebody asked him if Asians had a place in hip hop, and he was like, yes, everybody has a place in hip hop, but, you know, we just, you know, Asians saying the N-word, you know, they don't have a place in that. They shouldn't say it. And if something like that, something to that point.
Okay. And you responded.
I'm confused, right? Because if the N-word is so culturally sensitive the way that I know it can be, why is it so accepted by mainstream popular culture? You know why? Because of people like you. People that has these platforms. People that are gatekeepers that allow this word to transcend race into culture. And culture has nothing to do with the color of your skin. Culture has everything to do with the environment you were raised up in, the people that you're around, the things that you hear, the things that you see on a daily basis. So if you're so against that word, you should have been on it since day one. You know what I'm saying? Nobody should have been able to use that word on your watch. But because you weren't, it seems like you're singling out an entire minority group. You know what I'm saying? Which makes me think that you're stereotyping. You know what I mean? That the assumption is that all Asians are affluent, that we don't suffer from poverty, that we don't suffer from gang violence, and all the other shit that's rampant in the hoods. I don't know when was the last time you was in the hood.
I feel like this is how I feel. Like I said, I feel like nobody. I mean, if you know, that word is deep rooted. So black people want to use that word on their own, whatever. I mean, I don't agree. I don't think that that would ever work like that. You know what I'm saying? But fine. You know what I mean? That's a word that yeah, I want to use it. All right. So now anybody else, I don't think that that word should be used at all. Really, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, nobody should use that word. And I feel like because, and what I felt was like, all right, so many other people use that word. That word is used by everybody. You know what I mean? Anybody that grew up in the hood, anybody, and you don't just have black and Spanish people in the hood. You got all types of people in the hood, right? You know, Asians. You know, not every Asian person is rich. Actually, in New York, you see like more affluent Asians. But when you go to Cali and you go to Minnesota and you go to all these other rural places, you know what I'm saying? Not Cali. Cali's not rural. But I mean, like, when you go to all of these other states or whatever like that, you see Asians right in the hood. You got Cambodians, you got Laos, you got Vietnamese, and they come from third world countries, and they're right in the hood too. You know, so they grew up, they go to school with the same Mexicans, blacks, and the same hoods. So people are brought up with that culture all around them, right? You can't expect people to grow up around something and not begin to adapt to it and not begin to take certain things that the same people that's always around them, their neighbors, the people they go next door to, when the kids are going, you know, to their neighbor's house to play video games or watch TV, and they're in a house full of people and everybody's saying that word or doing certain things, you can't expect for these kids not to pick up on that. You just can't. You know what I'm saying? That's just like, it's not even right. You know what I'm saying? So when you have all of these people around and that word has been popularized, yes, it's a deep-rooted word. Yes, that word should not be said. Yes, that word comes with a lot of anguish, a lot of pain, a lot of suffering. But that word was turned into something else. That word, all of that anger, all of that stuff was kind of taken out and used as something else. You know what I mean? So when these kids are coming up, they weren't around in the 70s, 60s, 70s, 80s. They don't know about that. What they do know about is, you know, 21 Savage, 6ix9ine, and Kevin Hart, and all of these people that they're bombarded with on a daily basis, on Instagram, on social media, on TV, on movies, on music, on everything. And that's the word that there's no negative connotation to that word. So when they receive that word, it's not with racism. You know what I mean? They receive that word with slang, with culture, right? So once that happens, it's like, you know, so my thing with what Ebro said is don't point. Like he's the gatekeeper. Like, you know what I mean? He's working in radio. If he really felt that strongly about it, you should have been rallied up about that. You know what I mean? You should have been pushing that as like, yo, listen, we're not gonna condone that word. Like, you know what I'm saying? You should have been doing that. You know what I mean? Don't do it now that you see Asian people or whatever. Yo, the culture's grown, bro. It's grown, and there's people like you that allowed it to grow to this point. You can't be mad. You can't be. How could you be mad?
Well, I interviewed Stupid Young. He uses it. He's Cambodian, I think.
Yeah,
he's Cambodian. I mean, he uses it in his speech. You know, you've used it before. I mean, Tekashi's what, Mexican and Puerto Rican?
yeah.
He uses it on a regular basis. Me personally, I never use it. It's not part of my vocabulary, regardless of who I'm around or how acceptable it would be around people I'm cool with. And the way I look at it is, okay, as a kid, being in a certain environment and being around people that you know, I get it. I get how it could become comfortable, how you could say it. No one will ever question you about it and so forth. But at a certain point, you get exposure outside of your particular area, and you understand that that word actually has very serious ramifications. And, you know, although you are a minority, you know, as a Chinese man, you are a minority yourself. You do know that overall, the way that Asians are treated in America versus blacks is really not the same thing.
Wasn't always like that though.
It wasn't, but because when Asians were brought over and worked on the railroads and stuff like that, they were treated like trash also. But I don't think they were ever actually slaves though, were they?
I mean, they were one step above it. They were indentured servants, which is basically slavery. It's just a little different.
I see what you're saying.
The Chinese actually built the railroads in America. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? The Chinese have been here for a long time. The Chinese have contributed to this country a lot. You know what I'm saying? The Chinese have been, there was the Chinese Exclusion Act where we were banned, killed, because the white people were mad that the Chinese people were getting all the jobs for cheap, and they started just running down on all the Chinese people, hanging them, killing them, and doing all that. Like, so people don't really know about that. You know what I mean? The Chinese have been here for a long time, but what I feel like is, the Chinese were just able to build off of that. But that you know what that is though? That's because I have conversations about this all the time. The Chinese were never stripped of their identity. You know what I'm saying? The Chinese we always had our culture. So no matter if we were here in the 30s or whatever, we always had our culture. We came with our culture. We came with our language. We came with our identity. You know what I mean? When the Africans were brought here, they were stripped of everything. They were stripped of their culture, stripped of their language, stripped of everything. And everything they learned after that was, something that was forced on them. You know what I'm saying? So it's a little different. The psychology of it is different. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah. But I feel like, but that doesn't mean that we haven't been in the struggle either. Like, we've been here too. You know what I mean? We've been here too. And yes, the word shouldn't be said, and that's why I don't say the word. But it's not something to be pointing fingers at people. You know what I'm saying? The Chinese never enslaved nobody. You know what I mean? The Asians never enslaved nobody. Like, we didn't have anything to do with that. You know what I'm saying? But this word, again, was brought up and made into a popular, it became like, like pop culture, right? So when this word does that, then we have to look at why this word did that. Who allowed this word to do that? You know what I'm saying? You can't be mad at the people who take it from TV, from all that, right? So, like, my thing is, like, that's a deeper issue. You can't just point at people, oh, you can't say that, you can't say that. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's something that we as a people, everybody should be, should understand the meaning of that word. And I think there should be more talk about that, more understanding of that, because right now there isn't. And that's why you have all these people saying it, and you have, but me, I don't say it. I try my best not to use it, period. You know what I'm saying? And when I do use it, when it slips out, because I've been using it for so long, I check myself, I take a mental note. And not because of anything else, but because I want to respect everybody. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, everybody isn't as mature. You know what I'm saying? It took me a while to develop that maturity, to develop that understanding of how how hurtful or how disrespectful that word could be for other people. You know what I'm saying? But you can't look at an 18-year-old kid that's been saying it for 16 years, 15 years. You can't look at that kid and expect for that kid to understand that. You know what I mean? Especially when he has nothing, he doesn't even know, or he or she doesn't even know anything about, slavery. It's been so far removed from whatever they know,
I had Lord Jamar on the show after our interview with you, and he said he's actually okay with you using the word.
I'm gonna be honest, man. Like, China Mac seems like a Chinese nigga. You understand what I'm saying? Like, so when someone like him says it, you don't think nothing of it, really. You understand it? Because it's only when white people say nigga. You see what I'm saying? Like Chinese people are not white. We still consider them, I mean, you're almost there, but you're not white. You still have that original, you know what I mean? You still got a little more melanin, let's just say. And the way a lot of Asians are treated is very similar to black people a lot of times.
I think because let's look at it. Let's look at let's look at why that word is even like negative. You know what I'm saying? Like, Asian people ain't had nothing to do with that. You know what I'm saying? We ain't had no plantations.
Okay, well, but if that's your argument, I'm a first generation immigrant. My family is from the other side of the planet. We definitely didn't have nothing to do with slavery over here.
Yeah, no, I understand.
But
you look like
you see what I'm saying?
But you look like them.
But I look like them, so
that's close enough. You look like them. That's it. No, but I understand totally what you're saying. So that's why I say I don't even think any like that. I don't even want anything to do with the word. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to say the word. I don't think the word should be said. You know what I mean? But if we're gonna point fingers, let's point fingers at the right people. You know what I'm saying? Let's point fingers at the right people. People like Ebro, people who like Ebro, who has a voice, who has platforms for years, and allowed this to come to where we're at now, where it's kind of like no point of return now. Now that it's just over. You know what I'm saying? But people like...
I mean, to be fair, Ebro is not, Ebro is on the radio and has, platforms, but he is not a gatekeeper in terms of actually blocking anybody.
No, I mean, that's not what I'm saying, though.
You know what I'm saying? Like, Ebro
that's not
by himself could not stop anyone from getting hot.
I understand that. But what I'm saying is, if this was an issue, right? If this was an issue that he felt so strongly about, right? He should have been popping. He should have been. I'm pretty sure he would have had a. He could have definitely had more of a more stain in it. Like, you know what I'm saying? If that's really what he was pushing, you know what I'm saying? Like, if he really felt so strongly about it, right? Like, definitely could have been like, he could have had more say so than you or me in it.
Well, I don't know. My platform is pretty big.
I'm just saying. But what I'm saying is,
I don't think Ebro has a bigger platform than I do.
I'm not. That's not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not talking about the platforms. What I'm talking about is me or you we can't really talk about that. How can we tell these people? How can we tell other people what to say and what not to say?
Okay. Well, hold on. I have taken a stance, and I have said on multiple occasions on my platform that white people should not be using the N-word, and I am an example of that. You're not going to find some fucking tape of me 5 years ago, using that word or whatever else. I've said that every white person, I don't care where you've grown up, I don't care if all your friends were black up until the age of 40, like, just don't use the word. It's too loaded, and it's really not your place to use that word. Period. And I continue to say it.
No, I mean... Yeah, but what I'm saying is, and that's good. That's good that you say that, and that's good that you keep on pushing that. You know what I'm saying? But what I'm saying is, it's a little different because it's not white people that's making that word popular.
Right.
So it's not white people that's making it popular. It's not Asian people that's making it popular. It's the same people. It's the black people that's making it popular. You understand what I'm saying? So now what I'm saying.
I think the stupid young is making that word popular to other Cambodians.
But it's been popular way before stupid young came about. That word has already been popular since I was a kid, since you were a kid. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. That word has been popular for a long time. And now what you're seeing is you're seeing the fruits of it. You're seeing you're seeing it, just grow and transfer into different cultures and different places. And how can we be mad at that? You understand what I'm saying? Like, because people, and when I say people like Ebro, I don't mean just Ebro, but people like Ebro that had these, not platforms in like a show, but just had this type of, positions in this game. You know what I mean? If people felt so strongly about it, if you really didn't want this to get so out of hand and get so big, you should have been making this statement in the 90s, in the early 2000s. That's all I'm saying. Enough. And he's been around since then. You know what I mean? You should have been pushing that agenda since day one. You know what I mean? But now that it's grown, and now that you not saying that Ebro allowed it, single-handedly allow it, but you didn't go so hard and make it like a crusade to stop it. So right now, you can't blame these young kids just fucking following what they've been seeing all their life.
Yeah, I feel you.
You know what I mean? So be mad at yourself, Ebro.
The other situation that happened recently, when Lil Pump made some statements on the internet disrespecting Asian culture.
Yeah.
What exactly did he say?
He pulled his eyes back and he said "Ching Chong." Wow, what do you feel about that? Do you feel that my response was out of place?
No, I think that was very disrespectful and racist.
You do think that?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. And there's a lot of people. Hold on, because there's a lot of people that don't feel like that. There's a lot of people that don't feel like that was racist, and they don't feel like it was an insult. So my question is, for anybody that says that, would you, as a white person, black person, Spanish person, anybody else, right, walk into a room full of Chinese, Asian people, pull your eyes back and say "Ching Chong" without meaning to be disrespectful? You wouldn't. But now, as my question is, would I walk into a room full of black people and say the N-word? I would. You know what I mean? And the reason why, without being disrespectful, I was in prisons full of blacks and Spanish people, and I would use the word, I would say that word like 100 times within a 10-minute sentence. I mean, with a 10-minute convo, right? So what I'm saying is, it's different. You know what I mean? One is outright disrespectful. The other one has been watered down. You know what I'm saying? It's been watered down and popularized. So my whole thing is like, all right, Asian people have been quiet. You know what I'm saying? Like, Asian people are the type of people that when we feel disrespect, we would rather just not say nothing and just let it, like, whatever, and then just go about our business and do what we do. And it's been working for us because we stay out of the bullshit, you know what I mean? And we just keep on getting to what we get. And then, yes, some shit comes with it, but for the most part, Asian people just keep it moving. They keep silent. I mean, they're more quiet, more reserved, and they'll just, they take the higher road or whatever. But what I feel is like, that's okay, but I think it's a different time now. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like if we feel disrespected, we should speak our mind just like everybody else speaks their mind. You know what I'm saying? If somebody does something disrespectful, if somebody says something disrespectful, we should say something just like anybody else. You know what I mean?
I mean, you bring up an interesting point about Asian culture. And, I grew up around Chinese people in the Bay Area a lot.
Yeah. Shout out to the Bay. Shout out to the Bay Area.
Yeah, yeah. I grew up, one of my best friends growing up was Chinese, and we spent a lot of time together, and I got to spend time with his family and everything else like that. Culturally, it's very different. And you're right. Asian people as a whole are not as confrontational as other races. Is that just something you've been taught growing up? Like, you're different, but a typical Asian person is not confrontational. Why is that?
It's culturally. You mean culturally is just that's how we were taught. You know what I mean? Like it's better to just fight in different ways than you fight outwardly if necessary. But you everything so that's just how that's a cultural thing, like just how we're taught and how we're raised. You know what I'm saying? But I think there's a time and place for everything. You know what I mean? I think sometimes you should be quiet. Sometimes you could take the high road. Sometimes you don't need confrontation. But sometimes confrontation is important. Sometimes confrontation is necessary. You know what I mean? Sometimes you just have to say something and make everybody uncomfortable. You know what I mean? And I felt like that was the time. I felt like that was the time for us to actually just be looked at in a different light. And it got a lot of attention. It got a lot of negative attention. It got a lot of positive attention. You know what I'm saying? But it got a lot of negative attention because people are just not used to seeing somebody that looks like myself speaking in the manner that I spoke and fighting for something that I felt like was disrespectful. And that was good. And now I wanted that. I wanted both sides to come out and just show like there needs to be a conversation about where Asian Americans or Asian people are stand in America in hip hop. You know what I'm saying? I think it's a long overdue conversation that people just haven't had and people just been ducking. But now we're gonna have that conversation.
Well, you actually ended up running into Lil Pump.
Yeah, I did.
I felt like that wasn't random. I felt like you went there looking for him.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I didn't go there looking for him in the sense of, like his own people told us that they was gonna be there, like whatever security that they had or whatever. You know what I'm saying? But I didn't know he was gonna be there. People told me he was gonna be there. Like, you know what I'm saying? So my whole thing was, it was never drama with Lil Pump. It wasn't like beef. You know what I'm saying? It was just he said something he said and did something that was disrespectful to the Asian people. You know what I'm saying? And the Asian people chose me to speak. You know what I mean? Because yes, there was thousands of people responding to it from China, but they don't have the voice that I have here. You know what I'm saying? And I'm in America. I'm out here. So they can say everything they want out there, but it's not really going to be heard out here. But so they need a person like me, you know what I'm saying, to say it. You know what I mean? They were looking for that. They're hungry for that. You know what I mean? And who am I not to do that? You know what I'm saying? If my people feel some sort of way, then I have to speak for my people because I represent my people. You know what I'm saying? And when I seen him in the club, my whole stance was like, yo, bro, it's not personal. You know what I'm saying? I have no, there's no beef. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want no beef. There's no static. But you're going to respect our people. You know what I'm saying? And I know that I'm not the only person telling you that. You know what I'm saying? I know that you're getting a lot of phone calls from all over the place. You know what I'm saying? So, do the right thing, bro.
Okay, well, before you actually ran into him, he went on Instagram and apologized.
Yeah.
Hey, what's up, everybody? I came here to tell you guys that I seen the whole thing going on the internet and all that. And I came here to tell you for my part that I'm sorry and I apologize for posting that. It was not my intentions to hurt nobody or do none of that. Dead ass. Cause I got Asian homies, I fuck with everybody. I ain't got nothing against nobody. It's all love. I want everybody to have a Merry Christmas. Spread love and positivity.
Yeah, that was before. So I didn't press him and then he took it down. He already took it down.
Right. So when you guys actually had words in the club, what was his response?
He was just like, yo, yo, I fuck with the Asian people. I fuck with the Chinese people. Like, you know what I mean? I didn't mean like I didn't mean it like that. You know what I'm saying? That's what he said. You know what I'm saying? And I believe him. I never say he was racist. I never said that he was trying to, be racist. It's just that we've been so quiet and so many people have been saying it that it just seems like it's okay and it's not disrespectful to some people. That is, they just don't really see that that's disrespectful. You know what I'm saying? But now, here is somebody telling you, everybody, that it is disrespectful. And if you do say it, this is why it's disrespectful. And if you do say it, you're being disrespectful. You know what I'm saying? And I think, I think that's necessary out here right now. You know what I mean? I think it's a new time. It's a new time. And Asian people, just it's a different time for us now.
There was a video that came out recently. It showed a white inmate stabbing 4 black inmates that were handcuffed to a table. Did you see that?
Yeah, he was white.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Did you see that video?
Yeah, I saw it. It was disturbing.
Have you ever seen anything like that while you were locked up?
I seen like that, like people handcuffed getting stabbed. I mean, not like to the table and shit, but I definitely seen some crazy shit like that. You know what I mean? But that's crazy.
So you saw someone get handcuffed and stabbed while they were handcuffed?
Yeah.
One of the victims in that video says that he felt that the guards set that up. I mean, if you look at how long that went on, and I'm sure those guys were screaming and yelling and everything else like that, and there was literally no one around to even break it up. When you saw that video, did you think that it was a setup by the guards?
It could have been. It could have very well been. You know what I'm saying? Or it could have just been, they seen it happen and we'll get to it when we get to it type shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, they're not really rushing to save, 4 black guys or whatever. Like, you know what I'm saying? They'll, hey, break it up. Break it up. Break it up. Stop. Put it down. They're probably doing that. You know what I mean? But I definitely seen that, man. I seen guards, some of the most racist people I've seen in my life, prison guards. You know what I mean?
What is the worst thing you've seen a prison guard do? Personally, not heard about. What have you seen with your own 2 eyes or experienced a prison guard do?
I mean, a prison guard hogtied me, handcuffed me, tied my feet, and stuck a nightstick in between that, and I was like a fucking pig. And they walked me from one end of the hallway to the other end of the hallway, hitting me with walkie-talkies. And I'm not able to block my face or nothing. You know what I'm saying? The most I could do is like this, So my whole face was all messed up. You know what I'm saying? That was personal. Personally, what I've been through.
So what led them to do that? What happened right before that situation?
Me and an officer had a fight.
Fist fight?
Yeah.
Okay.
He put his hands on me. I told him not to put his hands on me. And he went to mush me, and I started fighting him, just me and him. And then when they came with the squad, and they did that. And they handcuffed me, and they hogtied me, and they beat me from one end of the to other. I've seen a whole bunch of stuff, bro. I seen officers, take people out like on a line. Yo, you come here, get on the wall, and then they'll put you on the wall and they'll make you spread your legs, but they'll kick your legs like all the way to the side, to the point where you're like this, you're just like about to tip over, like about to fall, and then they'll start patting you down, but then they'll start like putting their hands in your ass and all that, like really get crazy. And if you even move like this, it's over. You know what I mean? They're gonna take you off of that wall, and they're gonna fuck you up. And I've seen people die off of that. You know what I'm saying? I've seen countless people die at the hands of officers.
Oh, you've actually seen correctional officers kill people in prison.
I have seeing, but I definitely heard it. You know what I mean? Because I definitely I heard that happen around me several times. You just hearing the nightstick cracking on the wall, reverberating, like hitting the sink and hitting their heads and like beating somebody until they die. I definitely seen that.
I mean, it's a fucked up situation from both ends because, you know, a lot of times, especially in hip hop, the COs and cops in general are painted as the bad guys, you know, but being in prison, you know, you've seen situations, I'm sure, where like prisoners will throw shit at a guard, like actual human shit and piss. They'll actually throw that stuff at a guard, like in the guard's face.
Yeah.
You know, you told me in that situation that you were in that the guard was disrespecting you and then you hit him, but I'm sure there's lots of situations.
No, I didn't say he disrespected me. I say he put his hands on me, hit me.
Right. So in that situation, he put his hands on you when you retaliated, but I'm sure there's lots of situations where a guard will just be minding his own business and a prisoner will just walk up to him and punch him in the face or hit him with a weapon.
That happens a lot.
That happens a lot. So it's kind of a fucked up situation from both ends. And even though these guards are supposed to be the bigger person, at the end of the day, they're just humans. You know, I mean, I've had situations where I've blacked out on somebody. You know, when I felt like my life is in danger, I've blacked out on people before. And, you know, once the adrenaline calms down, you're like, oh shit, what did I just do to this person? Because you're just fucking angry like that. You know what I mean? So it's a very fucked up situation. And unless they change just the way the prisons operate as a whole, it's going to continue like this. Because I mean, in general, do you feel like all the prisons you've been in is the prisoners versus the guards? Or do you ever feel like you've been in prisons where the guards and the prisoners are actually cool with each other as a whole and everyone just understands that they're just doing their jobs?
Well, I've been in jails. Really, when that happens is like when it's like mostly black guards. You know what I mean? And even then, is you know, I've seen black guards act, you know, crazy. Like you know, once, you know, they'll get around like the white suit, like the upper, like the supervisors and stuff like that, and they'll act more white than white people. You know what I'm saying? Like the white guards. You know what I mean? But I think I seen that when there's more understanding, when there's like black guards from the same hood and like people from the same area, and there's more understanding, and you see less of like the racist stuff. You know what I'm saying? It's still a hard job though. Like officers have a hard job. You know what I'm saying? First of all, like, you know, correctional officers have a hard job. I'm not going to take that from them. You know what I'm saying? And you know, it takes a lot to not put everybody in the same bunch. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, and that's usually what they do. They'll come in like, all right, I'm going to be cool to like, you know what I mean? Whatever. But then once bad things start happening to you, you just start putting everybody in a bunch and start treating everybody the same way. You know what I'm saying? And same way, just like how women do, like, you know, when women get cheated on, you know what I'm saying? Like first they, you know, whatever, then they just start looking at men in general like dirtbags, you know what I'm saying? But, you know, but it's not like that. So I guess there just has to be more of an understanding between, you know, people. When they have more of an understanding, when people just, I think when guards just like, yo, I'm just here to do my job. Like, don't violate, don't do, and I'm not going to go out my way to violate you. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of guards like that. Like, yo, listen, I'm here to do my job, right? Don't violate. Don't do nothing like that, and I'm going to let y'all do what y'all do for the day. I'm not going to bother you, but if you make me work, I'm going to work. That always works. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's like, all right, boom, you're not here to bust our balls. You know what I mean? You understand that we here, that we have no choice to be here, and we understand you have a job, so all right, cool. You know what I'm saying? But the officers that just hate, there's officers that just hate prisoners. They hate black people. They hate anybody. Like, they just hate everybody like that, and they take out whatever they're going through at home or with their wife, with their kids, and their kids not listening to them and their wife not listening to them and whatever the fuck they going through, and then they come to work and they have this power over these people and they just fucking like do that and just make everybody's life hell. That's like, you know what I'm saying? That's fucked up. You know what I mean? That's you know, but
How often have you seen correctional officers actually get charged with a crime, though?
a lot. I seen that shit a lot.
Oh, so that's not a rarity.
I seen officers, you know, a lot of officers, like, you know, they might get caught fucking inmates, young females, like, you know, having relations with an inmate, they'll arrest them for that. Officers bringing in drugs and weapons and shit like that, they'll get arrested for that. Officers, you know, like if something happens and, you know, like somebody gets beat up bad or somebody gets killed or something like that, you know, and a big investigation goes on, officers might get arrested for shit like that, like, you know.
Okay, so it is somewhat fair both ways.
I mean, it's not fair, but
there are some repercussions.
There are repercussions, yeah.
Okay. Freeway Ricky Ross, you know, he was locked up for 20 years. And he talked about the difference between black gangs and Mexican gangs. And we talked about it from a prison point of view. And what he told me was kind of interesting is that Mexican gangsters can't even share cells with blacks.
With the Mexican gang, they already have their laws.
Yeah.
And you're going to follow their laws.
Yeah.
Like, you can't sleep in a cell with a black guy.
Really?
No, it's against the law.
A Mexican gang member cannot have a black cellie.
None. He has to go to the hole.
So he has to basically fight that guy.
If,
or something of that.
If the numbers are level or it's going to be a war, then he has to go to the hole until a Hispanic cell open up.
It's that serious?
It's that serious, yeah.
Now, he was mostly on the West Coast. On the East Coast, there's not as many Mexicans. But in the prisons you've been in, have any of them been majority Mexican?
There's majority Puerto Ricans and Dominicans.
Oh, so Latin kings and so forth.
Yeah, Latin Kings, Patrias, and things like that. But it's different. The culture is different. East Coast, West Coast. You know, West Coast, you're out there, so you know it's more segregated, right? Everybody, you know, black people here, even in the street, like even black people here, Spanish people, like Mexicans here, Asians here, and there's not really a lot of mingling going on. When you come to New York, it's different. You know what I'm saying? It's like everybody's like this. So it's a different culture over here. In the prisons in New York, you know, you have your Spanish gangs, you have your black gangs, but it's not like, you know, it's not like that. Like they can't mingle with each other. Like you can't bunk with a Spanish person. It's not like that.
Okay, that's interesting. So really, the Mexican gang shit is really more of a West Coast thing.
Yeah, because
probably down south also.
Yeah,
like
down south, yeah, wherever, yeah, like Texas. You know, I'm pretty sure like Atlanta, there's a lot more Mexican presence, but it's just in New York, it's a lot different. I mean, the majority of the Spanish people here are Puerto Ricans and Dominicans, and they are right next to the black people forever. Like, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, it's a lot different.
Do you see, you know, based on what you saw, especially in the prison system, was there a big difference between the gang structure between the different races? You know, does a Latin king, are they much different from a Crip or a Blood or something of that sort?
I think the Spanish like the Spanish gangs kind of stick together a little bit more. Like, you know what I'm saying? When Spanish people come through, they'll make sure, like, you know, regardless of who they are, they'll make sure they're taken care of a little bit better. Like, you know what I mean? They'll give them some soap. They'll give them some, make sure they're good, make sure they get on the phone. With the black people, it's a little different. It's a little more like, if you're a part of my gang, then, you know what I'm saying? But if you're not, then you're just out there, you know what I'm saying? So I think that's the difference.
The whole time you were locked up, Did you ever have, you know, girlfriends on the outside and conjugal visits and that type of thing?
I had girlfriends. I never had a conjugal visit, but
You have to be married for that?
yeah.
When Trady was here last time, we talked about this kind of interesting phenomenon of fat white girls who get into these relationships with inmates. You see that a lot, man.
You do, and most people get used in that situation. Somebody get
Especially
used.
seems with overweight women.
Yeah, they
Overweight
get used.
women get into these pen pal situations with these men in prison.
Some of these women be with these guys for like years. I mean, and they'll get out and won't even go see the chick, man. You know what I mean? You know, after all this good shit, you know, she sent them clothes to wear home and everything, and that's the, you know, don't never see hide nor hair of them.
Shout out to all the fat white girls out there.
Something about fat white girls and inmates somehow come together in some weird type of union, and you know,
It's a beautiful thing, though. No, it's a beautiful thing.
It's a beautiful thing, man. Everyone needs someone to love.
Exactly.
You know, there's a show that's now on Netflix called The Last OG with Tracy Morgan, where he had that same situation. He gets out of jail, and this fat white girl that's been holding him down this whole time, he ditches her, and she like chases after him, like, and stalks him.
Yo, yeah. Shout out to Tracy Morgan, man. He's a good dude.
Yeah. Did you personally see that? And you know, the one thing that's interesting also is, you know, what Trey told me about is that usually these prisoners will have these serious relationships with these girls, and, you know, write them letters, and the girls will send them commissary and visit them and stuff like that. And as soon as they get out, peace. I'm out. Have you seen this type of thing?
Yeah, all the time. I mean, just look at it. If you were locked up, right, and you had, we're not talking about a year or 2 years. We're talking about like 15 years. You know what I mean? 20 years, you know, 10 years. And, you know, you don't have nobody. You're lonely in there. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, your people start not responding to you. All the girlfriends you had or knew, they moved on with their life, or your friends moved on, and then, you know, you get hooked up, or somehow you find a female who is willing to write you, who is willing to visit you, who is willing to bring you packages, who's willing to accept your phone calls and just share that time with you. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's enticing. As long as you keep it real, you know what I mean? Because at the same time, you're offering something. Well, an inmate is offering this person, this woman, something, right? It's not a one-sided thing here. You know what I'm saying? Because that woman is going through whatever she's going through. She's lonely. She's going through whatever she's going through, right? Because if she wasn't, then she wouldn't be having this type of relationship. She would be outside having a relationship. So she's going through whatever she's going through, and she has, you know, whatever issue she has going through. So now when she finds somebody that has the time for her, that has the time to write letters, to call, to do all these, like, you know, that does something for them too. You know what I mean? It makes them feel better. It makes them uplifted better. Like, it makes them just look at life differently. You know what I'm saying? So that helps them as well. You know what I mean? So yes, she's helping the prisoner and helping that, but the prisoner is also helping her. You know what I'm saying? Is you know, it's a two-sided thing, right? So I think a lot of times when you're in prison, you have time. You have time to write these really thought out letters. You have time to really think about what you want to say. So when you're on the visiting floor, when you're talking on the phone, you're really giving you like you're giving, like, you know what I'm saying? You. So now when you come home, I mean, when you come home and it's like physically you're not attracted to this person, right? Physically you're not, but you agreed to do this while you're in prison because you just don't have no other options, right? But when you're going out there, it's gonna be a little different. So I had a situation like that where, you know, I met a female, and I was at a point where, you know, it was like maybe on my like 7th year, right? And then, you know, everybody really left. And I was just going, you know, just not really getting visits like that, you know, and things just went downhill. And then, you know, I met this girl, and she wasn't attractive to me, but I started conversating with her. We helped each other. Like, you know, I would give her advice, and we just helped each other. But I always kept it real. Like, you know, when I come home, you can't expect for me to, like, you know, to just be tied down or be a part of, be in a relationship. I'm gonna have to, like, do my thing. And I always told her that. And, you know, a piece of the women always, they feel like they can change it. They feel like they can, like, you know, whatever, right? And I think that's how that happens.
Okay, so you got out and you guys parted ways.
Yeah. Because they want something more, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, it was cool, we could be cool, and we could, like, you know, I could still, you know, but I'm not going to be tied down, you know what I'm saying? And especially, like, you know, but I said that from the beginning. I think that's the difference, you know what I'm saying? When you say that and you make it clear, like, yo, this is what it is, this is what I'm offering you, and this is what you're offering me, and we can just, like, you know, we can help each other, you know what I'm saying? Versus lying to them and, oh, I'm gonna be with you, I love you, and, you know, we're gonna just have kids and then when you get out, it's just like, oh, what's that? And then pew, you gone. Like,
yep.
That's foul, you know what I'm saying? But I mean, but at the same time, like I said, man, it's like, you know, both parties is offering somebody something, you know what I'm saying? So.
You know, when you first get locked up, everyone's there for you. Everyone's calling, sending commissary. And then as the years progress, things start to kind of fall off. You know, people go on with their lives. They start to forget about you. And I think, to me, what was kind of the most interesting part was when I interviewed Lil D and Freeway Ricky, they were both in a situation, like when they got locked up, they were both millionaires. So, you know, allegedly they, you know, put property and money and other, you know, things in other people's names. You know, and these people were supposed to hold it down for them until they got out. And every single time when these guys got out, there was nothing there waiting for them.
When you get all that time, you have to trust somebody. You got to let people hold money. You got to let people have your properties in their names. And majority of the guys that you will have a conversation with that did a bunch of those years, throughout those years, family and friends, they going to spend that money, man. Because they feel like you don't need it, though. Like, in their mind, they say, all you need is some money to go to the commissary and get on the phone.
Absolutely.
Same thing with you?
Same thing.
Same
Identical
thing.
Stories.
Identical, yeah. So all these people that are getting locked up who think that their relatives and their homies are going to hold on to that $500,000 in cash and that property and those cars
and
when
you
you
know
come
what?
out.
And when you doing it, you're thinking like you're going to accumulate this stuff, and when you come home, you will have that.
Yeah, but when you came out, you had nothing.
Nothing.
Have you seen this type of thing happen?
Yeah, but I mean, not personally, but, you know, yeah, I could see that. Like, you know, after you got it in my name and for 10, 20 years, why the hell would I want to give it back? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, I mean, it's messed up, but you can't blame the people either. It's like, you know, they you know, whatever. Wow, what do you feel? How do you feel about that? Do you feel like if you gave me your car and I held it for 20 years, I'm supposed to give it back to you after I done drove it?
Well, I think that you have to look at overall on these situations. Like, if you got locked up and you were like, hey, you know, can you hold 10,000 for me?
Oh, yo. Yeah, no, that's
You see what I'm saying? Like I have money, so 10 years later, I'm assuming I'm still gonna have money. Yeah, here's your 10,000 back.
But chances are these people don't have no money. I mean, not saying like, I mean, a lot of times.
And this is what I'm saying. Like you're giving, you're not giving this to millionaires. You're giving it to people who are probably poor already.
Yeah, and they're going
who have bills. Yeah.
Yeah, they're going through their shit like $10,000 shit. Okay, maybe I might just borrow $1,000 today, and then you want to give it back. But by the time you can give it back, it's another bill. So damn, let me borrow just another $1,000. I'll give it back. You do that shit until there's nothing else in there. What the fuck, yo? My bad,
right.
bro.
You got a bunch of IOUs.
Yo,
like yeah, man. And like with property, it's now in their name. What are you gonna do to get it back? It's in their name. You're gonna kill them? Like you're gonna.
I mean, the honorable thing to do is just to hold it for them, and when they come home, here because they don't have, they just went through their setbacks, so here, But a lot of people, like you said, man, a lot of people go through their own shit. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
Well, and that's the thing, man, and this is because we're not, I'm not here to try to glamorize prison and everything else like that. I really want to send this message out, like. All these people that look up, to the kingpins and the drug lords and these major criminals. Like I've interviewed a lot of them. I've interviewed some of the biggest criminals ever. And the story is always the same. Like, yeah, it's great up until the time that we go in. And then by the time we get out, it's all gone.
Yeah.
And,
and they might have, a lot of people just might have like a 1 year, 2 year like window of great, right? And then they'll have 30 years of hell, you know what I'm saying? And it's like, is it worth it? Like everybody should definitely take into consideration the other part of this lifestyle, the part that people are not really talking about, the part where you go to prison for 10, 20, 30 years, and you go in there as a teenager, as a young person, and then you go home. By the time you go home, you're an old man. You know what I mean? When you're in prison and your baby mother is fucking your best friend and your cousins and your brother even, you know what I'm saying? So, these are the different things. And when we make these decisions, we have to take into consideration these things. You know what I mean? I think a lot of times, we don't take that into consideration when we make our decisions,
Yeah, man. Yeah. I mean, look at Suge Knight.
Tuh.
Suge Knight was, he had a company that was worth hundreds of millions of dollars. And here he is. He's going to get out at like, 80 years old. It's a very sad situation. And, the prison time is almost never worth it.
No.
It's almost never worth it. Lil D said anyone who's trying to be the next Lil D is a damn fool.
Well, I got a saying when I be speaking in front of these youngsters. I tell them, man, if you trying to be like me, you's a damn fool. And then they ask me, why would I be a damn fool? I said, man, I just did 28 years in prison. You want to be like me? And then I tell them that they need to think about the consequences. I tell them, okay, let's say you do make you X amount of dollars, right? But you end up going to prison for 10, 15, 20 years, right? Ask yourself, is that worth you doing? And then if you come to the conclusion, yeah, then live with that if you get caught up. And those are the type of conversations I had with him.
Lil D was in prison more years than he was not in prison. That's how bad it is. Man. So
how's he doing?
He's doing good, man. He's doing good. He wrote a book. He's a very respected figure in the Bay Area, in Oakland. Part of the reason he got clemency was people like MC Hammer, went to the White House and, spoke on his behalf and so forth. He's an OG who did his time, never told on anybody. So a lot of people look up to him. And he accepted everything that he did. He didn't sugarcoat it. and you know, I think he's making a positive effect on the community that he once left a very negative effect on.
That's dope.
You know, you should check out his interview.
Nah, I watched one of them. I watched one of them.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
China Mac, always a pleasure.
Yo.
Always a pleasure.
Listen, thank you for having me up here. Hey, yo, shout out to everybody that be like, you know, that leaves the great comments, and shout out to all the haters too. I appreciate all the support that I'm getting from Vlad. Before this interview even started, I told Vlad, like, yo, you know, it's because of this platform, because of your platform, that so many people even know who I am. But it was because before this platform, you know, this is the platform that really gave me a start. You know what I'm saying? So I definitely appreciate it. I appreciate all of the Vlad viewers, you know, just really supporting my interviews and really, like, you know, appreciating my views and my interviews, and so I could be coming back up here like this, man. I appreciate y'all.
Right, and you have on your hoodie and your baseball hat, you got your website, China Mac Online.
ChinaMacOnline.com. You could go to my website to look at all my new videos, all my music. I have an album dropping on February 26th after 10. I have a lot of things in the works, and also you could purchase my merch at ChinaMacOnline.com, as you've been looking at the whole time on the video. You know what I'm saying? Interview. You already know.
Yep. And you could also follow you on China Mac Music on Instagram.
Yep. And then you can stream all my music on iTunes, Spotify, Tidal, everything. You know what I mean? Much love. Blessings.
That's what it is. Until next time.